Oh, hi, everybody. Ezra Levant here. It's November 1st, and you're watching Battleground every week at 12 noon Eastern until 1 p.m. Eastern. I sit down in front of the camera if I'm in the city and have a live stream, live chat. There's already almost 100 folks chit-chatting away on the comment board already. And, of course, the super chat, that's what YouTube calls it, is when you chip in a few bucks to accompany your comment or question. Puts it in a bright color, and it appends it to the top of the box there so I could see it out of the corner of my eye. I like taking questions and comments, especially, this week has felt like a bit of a denouement, a bit of an anticlimax after the big Canadian election 10 days ago. But there's still so much going on all the time. It's hard to believe it's only been 10 days since the election. There's a lot cooking. But to me, it's been a week about dogs. In a good way. In a good way. Let's get, how can you not like dogs? Do you know what the Latin name for the genus and species of dog is? You probably know. Canis familiaris. Canis, canine. We call dogs canines. It's a description of teeth too, isn't it? Familiaris. Family dog. Because dogs truly are man's best friend. Dogs have evolved genetically over the years, over the centuries, over the millennia to work with, play with, be man's best friend. They truly are. Look at these dogs. Dogs are the best. Cats, you know the genus and species for, the Latin word for cats are? I think it's a lie. Felix domesticus. Felix means happy. I don't see it, folks. I don't see it. I think your average cat is pouty, self-absorbed, unemotional. But look at these guys. Look at these guys running around. Look how friendly they are. Look at all those waggy tails. They're called Canis familiaris. I think that we should throw the word Felix in there too. Felix the cat. I think dogs could be called Felix. Just my personal opinion. The reason it was such a great week for dogs is because on Sunday, or I guess it was on Saturday night, a dog named Conan. Do we have the picture of Conan? Yeah. Look at this tweet from Donald Trump. We have declassified a picture of the wonderful dog, name not declassified, that did such a great job, exclamation, or capital letters, in capturing and killing the leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. And then the White House retweeted it. A very good boy. Sometimes it's hard to believe that we've got this man as president. What do we do to deserve such a man as president? A very good boy. Now, the New York Times and the Washington Post and other newspapers made it their top priority to find out the name of the dog, because that's what they do. And the name of the dog was Conan. I don't know if that's named after Conan O'Brien or Conan the Barbarian, but the dog is a very good boy. And the Daily Wire, which is an online news agency, more of the opinion side than the news reporting side, they made a fun little Photoshop. This is the one. Can you see the bottom? Hold that up on the screen for all. You see at the bottom right under Trump's sleeve, it says at Real Daily Wire. So you can see that this was an artist's impression, and you can see that necklace, that award, that ribbon, you can see it's fake, right? Because it's got the paw on it, and it's a good Photoshop, but you can see where the dog is. You can tell, especially where the ear is on top of Trump's face there. And the lighting's different. It's obviously the exact photo. You should go flip back to the first photo. Look at the tongue. Look at the dog tongue here. And the dog, that's obviously, and then flip back. It's obviously the same photo. I mean, do I need to be, like, this is ridiculous that I'm even saying this. And Trump says, American hero, and he just simply took that Daily Wire photo, and you know that because you know that the dog wasn't in the White House getting an award like that. I don't think there are awards like that. The real Daily Wire logo is right on it, just in case you work at the New York Times and are a bit slow at the uptake. But that did not stop the New York Times from doing a major investigative piece here. Trump tweets faked photo of hero dog getting a medal. The joke photo appeared to use an image from a 2017 Medal of Honor ceremony. The medal recipient was amused. So you got two reporters here. Now, this is one of the two images, right? You can see the cufflinks, you can see the ribbon, maybe ribbon's not the right word, and you can see the actual hero there. And then flip back to the dog. Yeah. So they you see it's got the paw here, the paw print here. And can you flip back to the original one again? Yeah, it doesn't have a paw print because he's not a dog. Now, can you call up the one of Vladimir Putin riding some bear or something? Do you know that one? You just Google image. If you spend any time at all on the internet, you've probably heard of Photoshop and that it's a fun thing for people to tweet pictures that are altered. They're not doctored. They're not frauds. They're satires. They're a little bit of fun. They're done all the time. They're done, they're called memes. Like this one here. Thanks for finding that. Do I need to tell you? That's not real. Did I need to mention that? That's not a real picture. That's a composite of at least two pictures. And that's funny. I mean, or if you don't find it funny or amusing, you must at least acknowledge that someone was trying to be funny or amusing. That's the thing about jokes. You don't have to agree that they're funny, but you have to agree that they're jokes. But the New York Times put not one, can you put the Times back up? Not one, but two investigative reporters, Niraj Chokshi and Karen Zrake. President Trump on Wednesday shared an altered photograph, or as the headline says, faked photo of himself placing a medal around the neck of a dog injured. The image, which bears a watermark, appeared to be an altered version. Now, by the way, they actually contacted the Army medic who got the award, and first of all, he loved it. He thought it was funny, and he actually said he hopes the dog was okay because initial reports were that the dog was slightly injured. That's a normal guy. It's not normal calling up that vet and asking him to be outraged. That's not normal. It's not normal putting two reporters on that beat. That's not normal. It's normal to have a laugh. I see some people think that, yeah. Look at this. Look at this. I can't tell what's real anymore. You know what? There's one, I don't know if you can find it, Justin, where Joe Biden gets in the picture. You know that Joe Biden and his huggy gropes? Oh yeah, I've missed a few super chats. Let me go back a little bit. Proud Boys Calgary, it's real to me, damn it, just like World Wrestling. MK Ultra, breaking news, dinosaurs in Jurassic World were doctored and not real. When you're done that, can you get the one of the Triceratops with the hunter in front of it? That's got to be my favorite of all time, if you know the one I'm talking about. Primpal08, the mainstream media are fact-checking memes. You'd think the Daily Wire watermark would have tipped them off. Mike Grimes, Democrats love to be miserable, walk away. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Trump's got a sense of humor. When was the last time Hillary told a joke? Like a real joke, or even tried to? She just has that, ha, 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 ha. In fact, when you're done, can you grab Trevor Noah, the 2-minute clip of him? Not just the short version, but the longer one. Don't worry about the Biden one. And we'll come back to the Triceratops one. Can you grab, I saw it just this morning, Trevor Noah asking Hillary Clinton about Jeffrey Epstein. But not just the 10-second teaser, but like the 2-minute exchange. Trevor Noah. Yesterday, I saw the 10-second teaser of Trevor Noah. You know who I'm talking about, the South African comedian who's now in America. I forget what show, The Daily Show he hosts. And he had Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton on, two of the most miserable people in the world, two of the least humorous people in the world. That's not funny. And give the lad credit. He said, how did you manage to kill Jeffrey Epstein? And I have to say, it was funny. It was funny. I don't usually think Trevor Noah's funny. I think he's sort of the least funny guy in the funny business. How's it coming? You having trouble finding it? Here, take a look. Take a look.
By Secretary Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton, who co-wrote the book of Gutsy Women. Hillary, I have to ask you a question that has been plaguing me for a while. How did you kill Jeffrey Epstein? Because you're not in power, but you have all the power. I really need to understand how you do what you do. Because you seem to be behind everything nefarious, and yet you do not use it to become president. What is the game plan?
Well, Trevor.
But honestly, what does it feel like being the boogeyman of the right?
Well, it's a constant surprise to me. Because the thing...
You know, she actually didn't know what to say to that. She just sort of, he saved her by asking questions and then putting it on Republicans, because she's just not naturally funny. She's not naturally self-deprecating. Like that's the closest thing Trevor Noah has said to funny in a while. Now, by the way, I don't think Hillary Clinton killed Jeffrey Epstein. That would be more Bill Clinton's department, given how many times he was on the jet to that private pedophile island. There were a lot of very powerful people who wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead, and I think if you think he committed suicide, I think that's the conspiracy theory. But putting that aside, let's just talk about the joke. It's a very funny joke that Trevor Noah put to Hillary Clinton. And she said, ha, 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 ha. I don't think she killed Jeffrey Epstein. But she couldn't even handle the joke. And do you see what I mean by he had to step in to save her by saying, oh, you're powerful, but you're not powerful, and this is crazy talk. And by the way, it goes on, and Chelsea Clinton. Actually, do you want to play a little bit more? Do you want to play Chelsea? Yeah, so Trevor Noah, because you'd think that Hillary Clinton would have some funny comeback, maybe even a self-deprecating comeback, maybe even wouldn't you like to know, or watch it, buddy. Like there could be a lot of deeply funny things you could say in response, especially if you think it's a conspiracy theory, which obviously it is. She could have said a lot of funny things like, watch it, buddy, you're next on the list, or whatever. I mean, there could be 100 different funny replies, or but she just had the ha, ha, ha. Here, just watch for one more minute after that.
I thought of just like meeting someone who says like, Hillary, you did this, and just looking at them and being like, yes, I did.
But I also think it's because it is effective. Like, I'll never forget reading an article after the 2016 election where the reporter interviewed someone who had been an undecided voter, and he said, you know, he thought my mom had won all 3 debates. She clearly had a greater command of the subject matter, and yet he just kept reading that she had murdered more than 50 people. And he said somewhat nonchalantly, like, I don't think that she murdered 50, but like, what if she murdered 2? And so you just think it's this like constant erosion of truth and sanity.
Right. The country's gearing.
I don't think anyone believes that Hillary Clinton personally loaded a gun and shot someone, not even Vince Foster. But can you get the Hillary Clinton Gaddafi clip? Clinton Gaddafi, we came, we saw, we killed him, or something. We came, we saw, he died. Do you know that clip I'm talking about? It is indisputable that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, through her disastrous decisions, didn't just murder dozens, but led to the deaths of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. I don't think I would call those murder, but certainly deaths. Her glee over the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi gets a little bit closer to murder, I think. And I don't know if you recall, during the 2016 election campaign, she had the absolutely insane idea of declaring a no-fly zone over Syria, a foreign country, in which there was a Russian airbase, and just having a no-fly zone that America would enforce over a foreign country called Syria with a Russian airbase. That would have led to many deaths. But look at this, and look at the cackle. Listen to the cackle. She doesn't laugh at real jokes, but she laughs at things like this.
No, it's so, I mean, that is the land of unconfirmed reports.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, oh, I'm sure it did.
Woo! Did you see that laughing? We came, we saw, he died. She's talking about the death of Muammar Gaddafi. And I don't even want to show you the death of Muammar Gaddafi. I don't even know if you could find it on YouTube anymore because it was so gruesome. They found him like hiding in a culvert. They beat him bloody, and I'm not even going to tell you what they did with a steel rod because I don't have the ability to even say that without gagging. Let me check. Did I miss any super chats? Do you know? I don't think I did. I don't think so. Let me just check here. No, I didn't. So yeah, that's all a circuitous way of saying the further to the left you are, the less laughy you are. I mean, I think it's accurate that, can we get the Ricky Gervais, don't try and find that Gaddafi thing. You'll never find it. It's probably scrubbed off YouTube. Can you get the Ricky Gervais tweet from Halloween? Let me concede that most comedians are liberal. It's a form of showbiz, isn't it? It's just a fact. Most comedians are liberal. But that's different than being left-wing. The further to the left you go, the less things can be funny. And you're just not allowed to make certain jokes anymore because that's not funny replaces, oh, that's funny. Here's Ricky Gervais' Halloween tweet. Ricky Gervais, a British comedian. I was going to dress up as something weird and creepy for my Halloween party, but I'm bucking the trend this year, and I'm going as brave female activists Jessica and Eve. This also means I don't have to, have to wax my big old hairy balls. Click on the photo. It's terrifying. Yeah. Ricky J, look at that. It's got 34,000 likes. Oh my God. That's Ricky Gervais tweeting. You must admit that's funny. But it's not funny. That's not funny because you're not allowed to make jokes about things. We had another tweet today. This tweet upset some people yesterday, so I think I should apologize and delete it and never make offensive jokes like this again. And that has 12,000 likes in the last few hours too. I believe that he had a large number of very angry responses because that's not funny. Yeah, it is bloody hilarious, by the way. West Ford chips in $10. Thanks very much. By the way, I hear in my ear that we've got the picture of. That's funny. Can you get Carpe Donktum, his meme or his video where Joe Biden does that to himself? Joe Biden's a little bit on the creepy side. No, that would be 6 months ago. He's got a YouTube page. It might be on his YouTube page. That might be a faster way to find it. So Joe Biden, you know, he's very handsy, right? Like he's always touching people. We should do a Joe Biden special. He touches young girls, which is the creepy part. He touches grown-up women too. A few years ago, he went into this biker bar and sat a lady biker on his lap. I mean, that's even handsier than Trudeau gets. Anyway, take a look at this. Take a look at this by Carpe Donktum, who's one of the funniest meme makers on the net today. Take a look.
I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening.
I don't know if you heard what he was saying. He was apologizing for being so handsy. Play that one more time and show the headline. The headline was, "No, Joe, not during the apology." So I don't know if you remember, he was apologizing for being so damn handsy. The headline was, "No, Joe, not during the apology, not during the apology." Take a look.
I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening.
I think that's very, 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 very funny. I think that's very funny. And the New York Times, let me save you some time. No need to put two of your best people on it. No need to call Joe Biden to ask if that was also Joe Biden touching Joe Biden while Joe Biden was apologizing for being Joe Biden. Let me save you all that time and just say, no, it was a joke. All right, well, it's, why don't you put up that dog B-roll one more time? Let's just get back to dogs. Canis familiaris, you know, the best, one of the best things. You know, I increasingly agree with that phrase I see on Twitter a lot. I see it everywhere. We don't deserve dogs. They're so happy. And obviously they're great family pets, but dogs have served people since prehistoric times. Just think about it. You got fire dogs, police dog. You've got Conan, the hero dog that took down al-Baghdadi. You've got sheepdogs. You've got dogs that not only move the sheep around, but protect the sheep. You've got hunting dogs. You've got watchdogs. You've got sniffer dogs. You've got St. Bernards. Yeah, dogs are great. And one of the reasons why Donald Trump was so specific in talking about how it was a dog that chased al-Baghdadi down this dead-end tunnel. And people were saying, why were you so graphic? And why were you humiliating al-Baghdadi? And why were you so over the top? And the media, anything Trump is for, they're against. Everything Trump is against, they're for. Why was Trump, while we're talking, can you grab the video of Saddam Hussein having his beard inspected, or Saddam Hussein after he was pulled out of the spider hole? When you've got a tyrannical dictator in a cult of personality, like in North Korea where you have Kim Jong-un's photo everywhere, like Adolf Hitler who had his face everywhere, like Joseph Stalin who had his face everywhere, like Xi Jinping, or even more so Mao Zedong. It takes on such a psychological, political dominance When Kim Jong-un's father died, the tyrant died, the nation truly mourned, and they weren't faking it, some were, but this certain permanent father figure died, and even if he was cruel, he was the father figure, the strength. And they didn't know what to do. Well, along came his son to fill that role. But my point is, al-Baghdadi, like Saddam Hussein, like Mao Zedong, like Stalin, like all these tyrants, has a physical grip and a secret police. But look at this. This is so important in this video here. This was after Saddam Hussein was captured. Look at, he's being checked. His beard is being checked for lice. They're checking in his throat. They're poking him and prodding him. Why would this be released? Why would they, this is a military video. Why was it released? Do you know why? Can you guess why? Because all of a sudden, the tyrant is not tyrannical. All of a sudden, the man whose very face terrified you, now he's being manhandled. He's being checked for bugs. Let's look inside his mouth. Let's handle him like we handle a child. Let's pick through his hair. Are there any bugs in there? Thanks. Do you see my point? He went from terrifying and psychologically dominant to, oh, he's just some loser with bugs and a dirty beard, and he's being picked over by someone who's so grossed out he's wearing gloves. And I think it's the same thing for the dogs chasing down Baghdadi. This once terrifying, mythological, larger-than-life character is now nothing. And you heard how Trump described him. Whimpering, crying, fleeing like a coward. And the dogs, some Muslims think dogs are dirty animals or hostile to dogs. I think that is why Trump emphasized the dog. A very good boy. He was indeed. But that takes away the sanctity, the holiness of Baghdadi. Don't think that was an accident. Don't think that Trump was just really expressing his affection for dogs. I don't even know if Trump has a dog. I can't even think of the dog's name if he has one. I don't think Trump has a dog. So I'm not saying he's a dog guy. I don't know if he is. I think he emphasized the dogs to emphasize the humiliation of al-Baghdadi. I see another super chat. Let me just get to it. Proud Boys Calgary, good doggos of all sizes, woofers, sub-woofers, and fluffers are all welcome in Alberta post-Wexit. Fair enough. Let me make sure I haven't missed one. I think I have all the super chats. Let me know if I missed one. All right, it's 12:29. We've had a good chat about dogs. We've talked about the... why don't we play a clip from the al-Baghdadi announcement? Because we've talked about the dogs, the dog Photoshop, the New York Times headline about the Photoshop. MVP asks, will Rebel cover the UK election if it goes ahead? Well, the election is going ahead, I think. Brexit was supposed to happen yesterday. It did not, but I think the election is going ahead, isn't it? I appreciate you asking the question. I guess we're just still sort of figuring out what we'll do, but yeah, it's not a bad idea. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, I do want to move on from the dog al-Baghdadi thing, but I just want to give you a flavor. For those of you who missed it, it was 5 days ago now. It was grip. I tell you, I turned on, I was watching it on my phone actually. I thought, oh, I'll just watch this for a minute. 20 minutes later, I just can't get enough. Here, take a look.
Last night, the United States brought the world's #1 terrorist leader to justice. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He was the founder and leader of ISIS, the most ruthless and violent terror organization anywhere in the world. The United States has been searching for Baghdadi for many years. Capturing or killing Baghdadi has been the top national security priority of my administration. U.S. Special Operations Forces executed a dangerous and daring nighttime raid in northwestern Syria and accomplished their mission in grand style. The U.S. personnel were incredible. I got to watch much of it. No personnel were lost in the operation, while a large number of Baghdadi's fighters and companions were killed with him. He died after running into a dead-end tunnel, whimpering and crying and screaming all the way. The compound had been cleared by this time, with people either surrendering or being shot and killed. 11 young children were moved out of the house and are uninjured. The only ones remaining were Baghdadi in the tunnel, and he had dragged 3 of his young children with him. They were led to certain death. He reached the end of the tunnel as our dogs chased him down. He ignited his vest, killing himself and the 3 children. His body was mutilated by the blast. The tunnel had caved in on it in addition. But test results gave certain, immediate, and totally positive identification. It was him. The thug who tried so hard to intimidate others spent his last moments in utter fear, in total panic and dread, terrified of the American forces bearing down on him. We were in the compound for approximately...
I won't make you watch anymore. It goes on for quite a while. Justin, can you dig up, the Pentagon yesterday released drone footage of the actual raid. If you can grab that, I appreciate that. I tell you, Donald Trump knows how to tell a story. He's a master storyteller. He's an entertainer. He comes from the world of TV. Comes from Miss America. He comes from Art of the Deal. He's showbiz as much as real estate. He's a casino mogul. I wrote down 3 words he used to describe al-Baghdadi in his first paragraph there. Whimpering, crying, and screaming. None of those words are strong, are they? Whimpering. like a baby crying and screaming, like they're shouting. Hey, hey, that's shouting. But screaming is screaming is a scream of, you scream when you're out of, you shout when you're emphatic. You hey, I'm going to shout at you because I'm mad at you, or I'm going to shout so you hear me. Screaming is when you lose control of yourself, of your emotions. Trump said that al-Baghdadi in the end was whimpering, crying, and screaming, was chased by dogs, and blew himself up like a coward. And all the dainty New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, CBC types of, oh, here's the footage. Here's the footage. They blew it up afterwards. That's not the suicide. That's a strike from the air. Look at that. Strike from the air. That's afterwards. If you could get another clip of when the men are going up, that'd be great. It's just incredible to watch. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And then they killed the number 2 guy. And I see today, don't worry about getting more footage. Is there a Trump tweet today saying we know the new leader of ISIS? Could you throw that up there on the screen for a bit? So they killed the first guy. Then they very quickly killed his successor. Maybe they even got intel. Yeah, look at this here today. This is just from this morning. ISIS has a new leader. We know exactly who he is. That's a hell of a thing to say, isn't that? So the fact they killed al-Baghdadi, and within hours, really, killed number 2, suggests that either they found intel on site, or perhaps more likely, they followed some chatter. They heard some electronic or cell phone communication, and they blew up the next guy. And now Trump's saying they know the next guy. It would not surprise me if he's harvested by troops or a good boy doggo before too long. And bring those dogs to the White House to give him a medal, and even invite Joe Biden, because he likes to pet things. Petting a dog is about the least bad thing to pet, don't you think? All right, there's a new Trump ad. We're going very heavy on Trump. It's 12:37. I do have a few other things I'm going to talk about. But I'm enjoying talking about dogs. Do you want to put that dog B-roll up just one more time? I'm just really enjoying the dogs. Look at those. Look at those dogs. Look, the dogs come in so many kinds. It's almost amazing, the diversity of dogs. The size, the sheer size of them. Like, these dogs are similar. But you've got dogs that are so small, they almost, I'm not going to say as small as mice, but like teeny tiny dogs. And then you got dogs, I've seen Newfoundland dogs, and there's Labrador dogs, I've seen St. Bernards, I've seen Dalmatians. There are dogs as big as a small horse almost. And they're all dogs. And some shed, and some are mean, and some are super friendly. Most are friendly. I saw a great bulldog yesterday that was just a bulldog puppy. It was the cutest thing you ever did see. Look at those dogs. All right, we're not going to just show dogs. Let's play the Trump ad, because there's a new one. Here, take a look at this.
President Trump is changing Washington, creating 6 million new jobs, 500,000 new manufacturing jobs, cutting illegal immigration in half, obliterating ISIS, their caliphate destroyed, their terrorist leader dead. But the Democrats would rather focus on impeachment and phony investigations, ignoring the real issues. But that's not stopping Donald Trump. He's no Mr. Nice Guy, but sometimes it takes a Donald Trump to change Washington.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, I mean, there's one more clip. Can you grab Trump at the baseball game? So I think it was the day of, I think Saturday night was the raid that killed Baghdadi. And I think it was Sunday that was the baseball game. Might have been. No, it's just any footage of Trump. He went to the ball game and he was booed right after he announced the Baghdadi thing. There's a zillion clips of it. There's faraway clips. There's close-up clips. I'm thinking, your president just announced the leader of the worst terrorist organization. ISIS is actually an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. It used to be called Al-Qaeda in Iraq and Syria. That's what it used to be called. Here, take a look at this. So that's in Washington, D.C. So who goes to ball games? Well, ball games are expensive. It's like hockey games in Canada. Who goes to ball games? People with money. In Washington, who's that? That's bureaucrats, that's lobbyists, that's the permanent political class. Might even be called the deep state. So mere hours after Trump announces the death of the world's worst terrorist, he's being booed, and they say lock him up. Now, I don't know if you could tell in that montage of clips there, but Trump actually brought various wounded vets to sit with him. You could see sort of one of them there. And so that's who they were booing along with Trump. And that's the swamp. That's the deep state. That's the permanent opposition to Trump. That's the civil service. That's the bureaucracy. That's what Trump's up against every single day. It's amazing he's achieved what he has. I see a couple super chats. Robert Stone chips in $10. Thank you. Michael Lindorf, Rebel News journalism is to be heralded, admired, and replicated. Rebel is truly the only mainstream media outlet in Canada. You have my support. Well, thanks, Michael. It's very friendly. Let me just quickly scroll and see if I missed any. Primpel 08, slip loose the dogs in November. Annalisa S, love you, Ezra. Well, thank you. Colin Buckley, £10. Is it true Justin Trudeau is a Muslim, as reported today in Alternative News? I do not believe that Justin Trudeau is a Muslim. I know for a fact he has recited the Shahada, which, from a technical point of view, does, I guess under Quranic law or Sharia law, does make you a Muslim. But I do not believe that Justin Trudeau in his heart or mind is a Muslim. I think that's just another example of dress up, Mr. Costume. One day he'll dress up as Aladdin, or more accurately, blackface Aladdin. One day he'll go to a Jewish event and wear a Jewish yarmulke. He'll go to a Sikh event. I mean, he went to India and he looked like he was in a Bollywood show. Can you get Trump Bollywood dance meme? It's just so good. Just Trump Bollywood dance. It's just my favorite. So Trudeau, you don't have to have memes of Trudeau dressing up silly, because he does it. I do not believe that Justin Trudeau is Muslim. There are Muslims in Canada who believe that if he is not a Muslim, he is almost like a prophet. I saw one imam compare him to the Najashi, who historically was a non-Muslim king in, I think, Ethiopia, who let Mohammed have a break and a rest and protection, and later became a Muslim convert. So I think the dominant view amongst political religious extremists in Canada is that Trudeau is a protector of Islam, an infidel who loves Islam, isn't a Muslim yet, but maybe one day will be. And in the meantime, let's take all of his friendship. I don't think Trudeau actually believes in anything other than himself. He nominally is a Catholic. He claims he is. I don't believe he's Catholic in any way other than by birth. I mentioned Trudeau playing dress up, and it just made me want to share this meme with you. And again, New York Times, let me save you the trouble. This is not real. Donald Trump did not star in a Bollywood musical.
बड़ी चली जो थी चिंगारी छोटी चिंगारी बड़ी 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 है मन की अलमारी आज अलमारी हुई सतरंगी चाली सतरंगी हुई सतरंगी थी जो ये रात काली खड़क दड़क बड़क चली चटक मटक फटक चली दुश्मन की देखो जो वाट लावली.
I don't know, maybe it was real. Looks sort of real. I mean, it's high energy. I didn't understand what they were saying. I don't think that was English. I don't know where that is. So maybe that was real. I don't know. Maybe we better get the New York Times on it. No, I don't think that was real. All right, 12:45. We have 15 minutes left. I'm going to totally change the topic now. I enjoyed talking about Trump. Let's just throw that doggy B-roll up one more time. I want to talk about, pick up on what Ricky Gervais joked, which is trans. And you cannot tell a trans joke anymore. You can't even say the word tranny, which I don't even think is particularly negative. It's just like a short form for trans. Holy cow. I mean, there was this feminist, this radical left-wing feminist named Megan Murphy. I'm talking 5 years ago, she would have been the leading edge of what's left wing. But she, and I know this sounds crazy, being a feminist and all, thinks that women are women and men who dress up as women are not women. And she got into this whole feminist thing because she's a woman, not because she wants to fight for rights for men who think they're women or say they're women, like Yaniv and Gervais. So that's Megan Murphy there. And she's radical feminist is what does that mean? She's a hardline left-wing feminist, but just sort of like that sort of almost standard issue these days on campus. If you're in any of the critical theory studies, if you're in vegetarian studies, peace and conflict studies, Marxist studies, whatever, all these studies, of course you're going to be just as feminist as Megan Murphy is. But in the last 5 years, feminists who believe in women have been displaced by trans activists who are men pretending to be women, men who think they're women, men who get their twig and berries cut off to be more like women. But alas, you cannot be a woman because it's not just a state of mind, it's a biological genetic thing. It's in your DNA. I don't know if you know that. So Megan Murphy, who I've never spoken with her, but I've read about her and I've seen her interviews. She's not particularly rude, at least not that I've seen. She's not mean. She doesn't make threats. She's not crazy. She's just a leftist feminist. Like, frankly, there are hundreds of people like her, thousands, millions. But she dares to speak out against trans because she says, well, that's guys coming in and into female spaces, and it's just actually a form of misogyny. Now, you can agree with that or not, but that's her point of view, and it's actually ideologically consistent, wouldn't you think? She's been denounced by the left and the center left. And she came to Toronto the other day to speak at the Toronto Public Library, which rents rooms to people to have whatever meeting they like. And we talked about this on the show the other day with Barbara Kay. There was no violence. She just had her point of view. But there was this huge... Can you get the Toronto Public Library trans book reading guy? You know that guy with the crazy beard who said, Google Megan Murphy Library trans book reading or whatever. So all these... Everyone on the left and center, even the mayor, the alleged conservative mayor of Toronto, John Tory, city councillors, these are people who are supposed to be center. In fact, John Tory once was the leader of the Conservative Party. Were condemning not only Megan Murphy for coming to Toronto to speak, but were condemning the library and pressuring the library. And it's not that important if you can't find it, but the Toronto Public Library had this, I'm sorry, you'll never tell me it's not bizarre, to have this huge, big, hairy, burly guy who goes in and has this transvestite book reading for kindergartners in the library. And so in a huff, he's canceled his book readings at the library to get even with them for hosting Megan Murphy. To which I say, thanks. Don't worry if you can't find it. Our friend David Menzies went down there. And, oh, you got it? Yeah, look at this guy. Faye and Fluffy, Queen Book. So that guy there and his friend, Faye and Fluffy's story time ends Toronto Public Library affiliation over Megan Murphy talk. So this guy would go into the library and read books to children of tender years, as you can see below. And he was so outraged that Megan Murphy was allowed to rent a room there. He stormed out. And that's what I call two pieces of good news. Anyways, Megan Murphy came. the library didn't bend the knee to censors, which is good. And our friend David Menzies went down there. Here, we'll play a clip of what he saw and heard.
Hate speech isn't free! Hate speech isn't free! Hate speech isn't free! You're very welcome!
We progressive supported funding for public libraries, and you are supporting the very people who would want to close your doors.
Trans men are men! Trans women are women, and trash is trash!
Well, man, what brings you out to this protest? Oh, okay. Well, can I look at what your sign says?
It says Trinity St. Paul's United Church because that's who we are and that's where I work.
Okay, then. And you support censorship and
I
deplatforming?
support trans rights, and I'm not speaking to you. Trans rights are human rights. Just repeat that. Trans rights are human rights. Trans rights are human rights.
You obviously disagree with Miss Murphy, but why not have a debate? Why not have a discussion? Why shut somebody
Because
down?
we have hate speech in this country. We know what hate speech is.
But you folks can ask you what brings you out to. No. Tell me, it seems like you're all about deplatforming and censorship, but how does that help the disenfranchised?
We already told you once we're not talking to you. Now we're telling you a second time we're not talking to you. Get out of our face.
Get out of my face.
That's
I'm
all
not
you
talking
have?
to you.
Say, do you guys have any opinion on Jonathan Yaniv, aka Jessica Yaniv? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't want to. I don't
Is
want.
that a role model for the trans community?
I don't want to. I don't want to.
No, you don't want to. Okay, all right then. How about yourself, ma'am? Jonathan, aka Jessica Yaniv, is that a role model for the trans community?
Like I said before, I'm not interested in speaking.
Okay, even about Yaniv then, right?
But I'm not interested in speaking at all.
What does that mean, by the way? TERFs are the flat earthers of gender, sir. F off. Is that what it means? Well, it's
that's a quote.
very. Oh no, thank you for it.
I'm here with my pastor.
Okay.
It's a godly time. I'd like you to get out of my space.
Is that the kind of language you'd use in a church, sir? What do you make of this protest out here then?
Well, I understand where they're coming from, but also, like, women have the right to talk about their own rights and how these laws impact people.
I mean, after all, we're in Canada, as far as I know still. We have the right to speak our minds as long as it's not some kind of hate speech or a few other categories. That's what it's all about.
We can't deny the fact that with the passing of Bill C-16 that people aren't going to take advantage of it. And the Deputy Commissioner for Women has said 50% of the requests coming from male institutions are in fact convicted sex offenders with victim pools of women and children. Now they're being transferred into our female institutions where there are female and children. We have the mother-child program. We have children inside. So who's going to protect us if we don't speak out about it? I find that a lot of people don't want to discuss anything. They're afraid of being sued for discrimination, so nobody wants to speak out. And it seems like the bigger voices right now are the trans community. And in fact, I've seen a lot of hateful things from them towards women, like just passing down the street and the signs like "No TERFs on our turf." Like, how can you claim that someone's transphobic for wanting to speak up about things like women being sexually assaulted in prisons or being sexually assaulted in homeless shelters? Like, how can you just try to shut people down and say, no, you're transphobic? Phobia is a fear, an irrational fear of something. We are not in fear of you.
How about yourself, sir? Can you explain what your sign means? This is free speech that is bigotry.
F off.
That's all you have to say? You can't articulate your point? Oh, okay then. Well, I can understand that you are a pro-censor and a pro-deplatformer, but...
I'm pro-punching you in the mouth is what I am.
Oh, so violence too.
Trans rights are human.
What a great report by David Menzies. Just showing the insanity there. And that woman who spoke about sexual assault in prison and homeless shelters, that is very, very interesting. People don't believe me when I say it. I'll have to do more videos on the subject. But a couple years ago, Justin Trudeau issued a regulation to Corrections Canada. That's the federal prison system. I'm sure it's the same provincially in most provinces, where simply saying you're a woman, like Jonathan Yaniv does, allows you to choose to go to the women's prison instead of the men's prison. Now, first of all, women's prisons are much nicer, much gentler than men's prisons. It's just a fact. They're very much not even like prisons. But as you heard that feminist say, there's sexual assault because many of the people who are saying, oh, I'm a woman, they were violent sexual assaulters of women who said, are you serious? I just have to say I'm a trans and you'll let me in this big cage with all these girls? Yeah, I'm trans. It's a bad faith decision by them. I'd like to do some studies into the sexual assault in prisons and homeless shelters because it's a disaster. And what's so interesting there is not one of them could articulate anything to David, who's a very friendly guy. A couple super chats. Mike Grimes, $5. Democrats love to be miserable. I read that one already. Primpel 08, the left always eats its own eventually. Yes, but at great cost. It made me sad to hear that woman talk about sexual assaults in prisons and homeless shelters, and I absolutely believe that happens. TERF, by the way, you heard that phrase there, stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. That's supposed to be a negative word for the Megan Murphys of the world. But I thought that feminist who did talk to David was very thoughtful, who said, we don't hate people, we just want to stand up for women's rights too, and the bullies are the men. I think that's very accurate. Well, it's 12:57. We don't have a lot more time, but I think we just have enough time to play one more video we did about a trans issue, not in correctional facilities or in homeless shelters, but in sports. It's about a man who competed as a cyclist and couldn't win as a man, but now that he says he's a woman named Rachel, he's just crushing it. And we did a little video of it, and it quickly got more than 1 million views on Twitter. So take a look at this.
So, do you think this is fair?
I don't know that I'm educated enough to have an opinion on that. Is that fair?
I really don't know what the science is on that, actually.
She is a female, that she should rightfully be able to compete against other females and be looked at as a female.
I think it's definitely fair. If she's transitioned into a female, then she should be seen as an equal female, and she should be able to compete against in what league she wants to.
Well, I think it's hard. You can't really say if it's fair or not because of, like we said, the climate that it's in. If they say anything, then they're going to be ridiculed, and if they don't, then they deal with this. So it's kind of a sticky situation.
That's very sad to me. These young women who can see that it's a man destroying women's sports are so fashion conscious, so compliant, so submissive that they are fine. I'm fine with this. Yeah, this is great. Or the one lady, I'm not educated enough to answer. I'm just a girl. Why are you asking me tough questions? I don't blame them, though, because you speak out against the trans, and you saw the viciousness that David Menzies himself personally encountered. Just incredible. That's our show for today. It's already 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I got to go. I have another show to prepare for tonight. If you don't know, I have a show every day at 8 p.m. Eastern. Much more produced than this show. We just have take some comments and play some odds and ends, but my evening show every weekday is more produced, and I have an interview and whatnot. We've got a couple of interviews going on. So I'll sign off for now, and I'll get back to work. Have a great weekend, everybody. Until next time, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters to you at home, goodbye and keep fighting for freedom.